to the legends of the creative and entertainment industries. We talk to those on the rise. Steen Anthony Nielsen asks about the highs, the lows, and everything in between. This is Outcast Creative, and this is Industry Interviews.
Hello. Welcome back to the Outcast Creative channel. We're back on Sundays, later than normally, but I was going to see the Wild Geese 40th anniversary today, so I was at the cinema. I've been to the cinema twice this month. That's quite a lot compared to recent things. I also went to see Predator Badlands, but you know, we've discussed that on the channel already, so we're not going to talk about it today. So as you know, one of the main remits of the channel is to support emerging creatives. That can be a creative in any discipline. So you could come from a music background, board games design, you might be an actor, you might be a writer, you might be a novelist, you may have a comic on Kickstarter, anything that has a creative element. But of course, first and foremost, as this started off as very much a channel about and for actors and filmmakers, the people I love supporting more than anything is my fellow filmmaker. I'm an independent filmmaker myself. I have been since about 95 or something like that. And I've been in the trenches. I've seen the technical side of the industry go from tape to digital, editing to go from sort of, offline edits and all that's changed. Tape to tape's all gone on computer. So I've seen huge changes in the industry, both in terms of how films are made and in terms of also the types of films that are being made. I've worked on big budget stuff in other roles, and I've worked as a director on lots of shorts and 3 feature films. And I've just done a short that was produced by Wil Johnson and written by Callum Edmonds, also known as Mauler on YouTube. So that was also a fantastic experience that happened earlier this year. My guest tonight is a first-time filmmaker who's just done their first horror film. Co-hosting with me is Rachel Percy. How
Hello,
are we?
everybody.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Doing pretty good today.
Always a pleasure to have you on. Thanks very much for co-hosting with me. My cough is not as bad as it was, but I think it's still prudent for me to have a co-host.
You know, I love to be here, so.
Yeah, and I know you're a bit of a fan. You're a bit of a horror fan as well. So.
Yes.
Yeah. So when I said, hey, I've got a first-time horror filmmaker coming on the channel to have a chat, you said, I have to be there. So I said, okay. Just send me those $20 as per normal and you can come on. So $20 didn't reach me, but she's here nonetheless. Okay, so my guest tonight is King Nickey, debut filmmaker. I'm definitely going to have to ask her about that name and where it came from. That's going to be one of my non-film related questions. All the way from the southern part of America. Nickey, thanks very much for coming on. And again, apologies for this interview being delayed by a week. I'm so sorry that we weren't quite able to make everything work last week. But thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Somebody in the chat, we've got a couple of our regulars. Hello, beautiful people. Or more accurately, movie lovers. Oh, you've no idea how much a movie lover I am. Congrats, King Nickey. This is just the beginning. Yeah, I certainly hope so. Wormy Spoons is here. Keith E, one of my regular moderators, is here. Thank you for being here, Keith. Got more people coming in all the time. If you are tuning in and you don't know about the channel, we support emerging creators. We also interview people at the top of the tree. We've had some wonderful guests on, including producer Gail Ann Hurd, who produced a few films you might have seen, like Terminator, Aliens, and the entire Walking Dead franchise. I've had the director of Tremors on here, which is one of my favourite horror comedy films of all time, Ron Underwood. We've had DOPs, actors, all kinds of people. So if you're new to the channel, do check out the content, do like and subscribe. If you can, do a post about it somewhere on your social media, that would be really lovely. Great for Nickey also to get more people watching her film. So, okay, I've got to ask you this before I do my quick questions. Is your first name really King?
No, it isn't.
Is that so? It's like a nickname that kind of stuck.
Well, Nickey is a nickname, common nickname. My name is Nicole, and Nickey is just like a common nickname for Nicole that stuck. And the King Nickey is actually my cousin I was very close to, Keno. He passed away, and his nickname was King. So I just use like his name for my, I guess, stage name or however you want to put it. It's just a way to like keep his memory alive.
Do you know what? I love that. And I completely get that.
It's a great
I
tribute.
did the same thing with my name. I've got two sets of parents. I'm adopted. I've got two sets of names. I put all the names together, and I figured that way I'm honouring them all. It means I have an extraordinarily long name that some people find a real pain in the arse to fit on stationery and things like that. But okay, well, with that puzzle solved, which I felt for world safety, we just needed to know the answer. Let's do our quick fire questions. So, King Nickey, your starter for 10. What was the first movie as a kid you ever saw on the big screen?
So, you know how people don't like to see toddlers at the theater? My mother brought her toddler to the theater. So the first movie I saw in theater, I was literally a toddler, and I just always loved movies. So I wasn't the toddler that couldn't sit still. I was very engaged and enamored with the movie. However, being the fact that I was a toddler, I have no idea what the first movie I was that I saw in theaters. I don't know how people know that unless you went to the theater really older. So I don't have a clue.
What's the first one that you can recall seeing?
There's so many movies I saw in theaters, and honestly, I can't remember like the literal like first one I remember. I guess
give me one that sticks in your memory.
A standout one, me and my mother just talked about. We saw Live Free Die Hard in theaters, and it was the only movie that we've ever seen twice in theaters. Like, we liked it that much. That's nice. Like a standout theater moment.
Yeah. And clearly your dog also approves. He chimed in there. Free Die Hard. Okay, that's great. That's not a choice we've had thus far. I'm old enough to have seen the first Die Hard in theaters, and in fact, I saw it in your country. I saw it in the States on my first trip to the States. God, what a great film. What was the last movie that you saw on the big screen that you paid for a ticket for?
The last movie I saw on the big screen was I think it was the double feature, Final Destination Bloodlines and Together.
Okay. Ooh, two pretty icky horror films there. Certainly Together. Yeah, I've seen the trailer. I've not seen the movie. And I'm three of them maybe. Because I don't know what number Bloodline is. It must be quite up there.
Oh, it's like 6 or 7. Like,
yeah, there's a lot. Okay, great. Tell me a TV show. And I want a drama show here. Okay, like a straight drama. So we're talking shows like The Sopranos, ER, Breaking Bad, this kind of stuff. Okay, it doesn't have to be an American show though. But tell me a TV show that you watched that you were like, wow, this is good. I'd quite like to make something like this one day. I have to watch all of the seasons of this show.
I like to make something like this. I honestly don't think I've ever seen a show and I thought I want to make something like this.
If I take that out of the equation and just say a show that you thought was so good, you've got to watch all the seasons, drama show, which one would it be that's at the top of the tree?
I guess what's popping in my head right now, it was just one season. I think it was like a mini series. It was called The Outsider on HBO. I think it was based on a book. I was obsessed with that. I was really enamored. So I would say that's sticking out. Maybe Westworld, that's sticking out in my head as well.
Season 1 of Westworld was very good for sure.
Yes.
The Outsider had several people in it that I know, and Ben Mendelsohn was the lead. He played Ralph Anderson in the show. Cynthia Elvira was in it as well. Jason Bateman was in it. Paddy Considine was in it, who's an actor I've met a couple of times. Yeah, I did see this actually, because there was like the murder of the boy, and there was the supernatural stuff going on. Yeah, and it was a good show, but I saw it quite a while ago now. But I think it was one of the ones I watched in lockdown, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, it was a while ago. I can't remember if it was 2020, but it was a little minute ago.
Yeah, I think so. What is your standout movie to whack on? I don't know if you have a movie collection, maybe you don't, but not everybody has physical media these days. But what is your standout film to put on kind of a lazy Sunday afternoon? It's raining outside. You're not going to do anything. You're going to stay in and watch a movie. What are you going to watch?
I would probably say Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. I've probably seen that movie a nauseating amount of times, and probably John Carpenter's The Thing. Those are probably my most like rewatch. Oh, probably Night of the Living Dead, black and white. Yeah.
We did a horror special. I think I had 4 or 5 guests on it. Rachel, were you on that? I can't remember if you were on that.
Oh, I think I was.
You were watching it. I don't think you were on it, but I think you were watching it. You were in the chat. And
yeah, I was in the chat.
Each guest picked like 5 movies, their top 5 horror films. I might do this again at some point. And, you know, each of their picks was worth 1 to 5 points. So gradually we whittled it through to see, you know, what was the top horror film of everyone's choice. And it was The Thing, 1982. And I can't even begin to tell you how much I love this movie. And it's a great lesson in filmmaking as well, this film. Really is a great lesson in filmmaking.
Yeah, I feel like it's a masterclass in suspense. It's amazing. Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely. Good choices, Nickey. Excellent stuff. So okay, do you have a movie that's like a guilty pleasure?
Yeah, I have a lot. But I guess the top, I love just like bad horror, B-movie horror, low budget horror, and I also really love low budget B-movie action movies. But my guilty pleasure, my favorite is probably Cabin Fever, Patient Zero. It's terrible, but like I have so much fun with it. The Bye Bye Man, I have so much fun with that movie. And I know everybody on planet Earth hated Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. That's another guilty pleasure.
Oh, I know the people that made that, and they made a ton of money from that film.
I love that movie. I've seen it like 20 times, like obsessively. I love bad low budget, and I guess bad is relative, but you know, like generic kind of low budget horror movies. I'm not going to assume that this is your mum in the chat, but it might Mommy
be.
by chance, no. But hi, that's one of my subs. Miss Lisa in the chat is my mother.
Oh, that's your mum.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, how nice. Well, we read out her comment later. Miss Lisa, feel free to make more comments. We'll read them out. Also, if you have any questions for your daughter regarding her filmmaking career, not like what was she doing last Wednesday, you can put those in the chat as well.
Well, you know. Put her on the spot. She can't lie now.
Oh, please don't tell her to do that, because she will.
Proctifier wants to know, did you see Bambi the Revenge?
I did see Bambi the Revenge.
Damn, I didn't even know that was a thing, but clearly it is.
Oh, it's a thing.
Was it a so bad it's good B movie, or was it just so bad it was awful?
It was okay. I could see people getting entertainment value out of it. I wasn't the biggest fan. I mean, it didn't suck. I got some enjoyment out of it.
All right, let's move on. That's my quick fire questions done. What it does is it sort of gives me a sense of kind of culturally what you've grown up with. You know, what your influences were to some degree. A little insight, which is all I need at this stage. So, what I want to ask you now is, Okay, so what age were you when you started getting interested in the other side of the camera, how films were made? Was there a catalyst? Was there a person? How was the spark for that? Or was it your mum that was responsible for dragging you as a toddler into endless cinemas?
Well, my mother's responsible for me being a warped child that loves movies. She's the reason I'm a huge movie buff and huge horror fan.
I think
But
she sounds like a great mum to me. I'm just going to say.
Really?
Yeah, sounds like a fabulous mother. Fantastic job, Lisa. Good job.
And when I was growing up, the two things, we were, I had a single parent. We didn't have like a ton of money. And the two experiences my mother would always take me to was the library and the movies. And I was actually always interested in writing. I was never interested in filmmaking. And I actually never liked to even watch behind the scenes. Like, I feel like it took away the movie magic. I didn't want to know how the movie was made. I just wanted to enjoy the movie. And then when I was about 36 years old, that's when I decided I wanted to be behind the camera. And it was actually, I was having a conversation with someone about a movie and we were complaining. And I remember just saying, man, I feel like I've been complaining about the same thing since I was a kid and I'm still not seeing what I want to see on screen. So I was like, you know what? Instead of complaining, why don't I make the movie I want to see? And that was very late in life when I decided, like, that was the catalyst that made me say, I want to do filmmaking.
Well, first of all, I'm still recovering at the shock that you're 38 or over. I thought you were like 29 or something.
Really?
So, whatever moisturizer you're using, excellent. Please send me some. I'll send you my address later.
Tell us your secret.
Yeah, tell us your secret. Otherwise, I'll send the green woman on you. But yeah, so cool. I mean, I don't think it's never too late to get into acting. It's never too late to get into filmmaking. Filmmaking is so accessible now. Everything that I shot my first feature film with in the 90s is on this phone and more. So, there's no reason not to do stuff anymore. Okay, so you and so when did you shoot Apples? How long ago, or when did you start prepping it, shall we say?
So I decided I wanted to do filmmaking at 36 and pretty much just kind of watched everything I could watch, read everything I could read. And then finally in February of this year, I started writing the script for Apples. And I was like, okay, I'm going to just do it. Because the period of those 2 years was pretty much, I don't have the money. Like, how am I going to make a movie? I don't even know what I'm doing. How do I even find actors? Like, I had no clue how to do anything. One thing my mother always says is, if you wait for conditions to be perfect, you'll be waiting forever.
No, she's 2000% right about that. And you're also more limited in America by regulation, where in England you can just go out, and we're not governed over here in terms of filmmaking. So,
and see, that was more stuff. I was like, well, what about permits? And I didn't know anything. But,
run and gun, baby. Run and gun.
So
works for James Cameron. Do it.
Yeah.
So in February, I started writing Apples. I started writing the script. In March, I started casting. And in July, we filmed. And then October 16th, which was actually my birthday, Apples released. So
that all happened this year?
Yes.
Let's go back a bit. So let's talk about the writing first. So prior to writing Apples, plural, you had no screenwriting experience at all?
No.
Okay, so let's just focus on the writing, because I'm a script editor. Writing is mostly what I do for a living. I wrote 30 scripts in lockdown alone. I was writing 22 pages a day. It was kind of scary. I was a little bit like sort of in Rain Man mode, I think. But and I teach script writing, and I teach script editing, and I do all of those things. So I'm very interested to know, from where I'm at now, in terms of how you started, what were the tools? So did you look at what was online and watch some videos, or what did you do initially? Or did you just jump on a computer and start typing?
Well, when it came to the writing part, honestly, I didn't do much research. I never wrote a script, but I have always been a writer. I loved writing essays. I loved writing short stories, just a lot of writing. So I didn't feel like I needed to kind of research anything with that. The only thing I looked up was how to format a script, and then I just got writing.
So where did you look up where to format a script, and which screenwriting software did you use?
I did not use a screenwriting software. I used Microsoft Word.
Right.
And
that's how I used to write my scripts back in the day.
I did look at screenwriting software, but I was like, I ain't got the money for that. So I went to Studio Binder. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Studio Binder, to how to like format a script. And so I was like, okay, the margin is supposed to be this, and this is it. So I followed that format.
Well, let me be extremely helpful here, and I'm gonna what I've done with my screen now. Hold on, let me just click back on a different box. There we go. Okay, so I use now. A lot of people will tell you that the main industry software is called Final Draft. If you don't use Final Draft, you're not a professional script writer and all that. Right?
That's the one I tried to get, and I was like, oh
no. You did yourself an absolute favor by not getting that. Okay, let me dispel that for you right now. That is absolute bollocks. All right, that is just a marketing fad. You've got to buy this. A script format is pretty simple. There's only so many ways you can cook an egg. And with Final Draft, they keep bringing out new versions of it every year that you've got to pay for. You know, they try and get you on that kind of subscription thing. How many times are you going to teach me or show me how to format a script? It's not changing. So, we've put some extra bells and whistles on it. Yeah, but, the script is still the same. So, don't fall down that pitfall. The cheapest and most efficient one is called Fade In. Now I'm going to have to be very careful here, because the only document I've got here is something I'm working on with someone else at the minute. So I'm just going to share a page of this real briefly. Now, you don't always do this, but we've put all the scene headings in bold on this. And this is your standard script sort of layout, and it does what this will do that Microsoft Word won't, even though you'll be fiddling around trying to get things to look like this, is it does all the spacing for you. So all the spacing of the text and stuff like that
automatically
is all as it should be professionally. Now the great thing with Fade In, I'm going to take that down because that's a project I'm being paid to work on with somebody. I shouldn't really show it for very long. But the great thing about Fade In is you pay for it once and you're done. And when I bought it, I think it was £90, which would have been about $125. It can't be more than $200 now. Rachel, I don't know if you want to have a quick Google and see if you can see the price of Fade In for me. But
sure.
Just put in Fade In screenwriting software. But
that was the most frustrating part, is the format pretty much looked like yours. That's like the standard format. But yeah, I had to like dialogue has to be a certain way, and I had to like do everything myself instead of it auto doing it. So yeah,
and it's such a time consuming ball ache. And I think just going forward, look, I know times are hard and money's short. God, don't I know that? But going forward, my suggestion would be is, you've just had your birthday. Okay, Christmas is coming up. So I'll ask everyone to pitch in to pay for Fade In as your main Christmas present. And then boom, you have it and you got it for life,
Yeah.
And I think it works on both Mac or PC. I predominantly write on my Mac now, though my PC is sitting next to me here. It's quite old in dog years. So that's the writing. Now, in terms of dialogue,
it's $79.95 too.
There you go.
$80.
$80, right? And that's all you need to spend. So even less money than I thought. There's no reason for them to put it up in price because it's like, well, the cost of what's gone up exactly. You know, they can't do, oh, the cost of paper's gone up. So, yeah. So when you're writing your dialogue, what, if anything, what lessons do you or rules do you apply to writing your text?
Apple's had very minimal dialogue, and I'm not a fan of minimal dialogue just in general. That's just what the story called for. But the dialogue I did have, I wouldn't say I necessarily have any rules per se to how I write the dialogue. I do try to, I mean, I'm the worst actor in the world. I can't act my way off a paper bag, but I do say it out loud, you know, just to test, you know, the naturalistic way where I'll be like, you know what, no one would say that way. But I don't have any rules per se for writing dialogue.
Okay, because as a writer of well, who's been in the trenches, this is the piece of wisdom I'd impart to you on that front: is every line in your script should serve one of two masters. It should either tell you something more about the character who's speaking it, or it should tell you something more about the story and the situation. If it doesn't tell you something about either of those things, the dialogue should not be there.
I agree.
That's a good rule of thumb. And it, like, I know it sounds really obvious when you say it out loud, but actually sometimes, for example, you write a script and you think, oh, this script's great, but it's 10 pages too long. If you go through it and you apply those two rules to every line, you'll find yourself shortening lines or chopping lines all over the place, especially after you've done a first draft. So
yeah,
okay,
I feel like it sounds obvious, but I do feel like it's a mistake a lot of writers make. Like, I think about when I see movies and I feel like y'all could have edited this out. Like, we didn't even need this. So I do agree. And that's the basis of why Apples has minimal dialogue. I didn't feel it was necessary. So yeah, I agree. It should serve a purpose.
Yeah, very good. So having written the script, your next job was to, I guess, acquire crew and acquire actors. So as a first-time filmmaker with, I'm guessing the budget was the money you had in your pocket.
Yeah.
Sure. How did you go about that?
I pretty much had no clue how to, I was like, how the heck do I find actors? How do I find like anything at all? And so what I went to was what most people in 2025 go to, which is Google. And I was just kind of like, how do people find actors for a short film? How do people find crew for, like, I literally Googled those questions. And ultimately it brought me to a casting website, and I just put out like a casting call. And I had just moved to Nashville from Florida, so there's like Facebook groups for like actors locally, and I just put out casting calls, and to my shock and surprise, people responded. I was like, oh, okay. And I pretty much went through like a casting process, which ultimately ended with me sending them like script sides, just an excerpt from the script to like self-tape audition. Yeah. And then once I hired my cinematographer, which I also found through just posting, he word of mouth referred some people to me for PAs, and that was pretty much how I found everybody, was just going online and, hey, you want to be in a film?
How many I'll come back to casting in a second. How many days shooting was this in total?
2, and I feel like that was a terrible idea, but it was 2 days.
Okay, I mean, yeah, two for a short is pretty normal. 3 is always nice if you can have 3.
I feel like we needed 3 days.
Okay, well, but listen, it's the triangle of filmmaking: money, time, quality. You never have all 3. Sometimes you only get one of those. I was really lucky on my last short, but that's after, you know, a long time of being in the trenches and applying everything I'd learned. Yes, Keith, don't worry. I'm going to be coming on to catering. You can bet your boots. So, so how many people did you have in your crew on a daily basis?
On the crew, I had 3 PAs, a cinematographer, and assistant director.
Right. So there was you. When you say assistant director, do you mean a first AD?
Yes.
You, the first AD, the DOP, cinematographer, director of photography, and 3 production assistants. So basically a crew of 6.
Yes.
Okay. And you had a cast of 3.
Yes.
Which was Nick Black, Myra Magdalene, and Prithi, and I'm going to struggle to pronounce her last name. Is it Damara Barapu? Is that correct?
No, it's not even close, but that's fine. I really can't pronounce it.
Please pronounce it correctly for me.
No.
It's one of those names, isn't it? It's one of those names.
Yeah,
Nobody's going to get it right.
Yeah, no.
You've worked with her and even you can't pronounce it. Okay, all right.
No, I can't.
That's fine. So, yeah, okay. Let's, and then obviously you went into post-production, but we'll come on to that. Let's go back to casting. So you did your self-tapes. How many self-tapes did you see?
Oh, wow. I saw a lot. It was actually overwhelming. I want to say I saw oh God, I kind of don't even want to guesstimate. I can't remember. It was a lot. My inbox was, it was a lot.
Okay. So let's say dozens.
Yeah.
And when you were, as a first-time filmmaker, when you were looking at those self-tapes, what would you say were the 2 top qualities or things that you were looking for in those pieces?
Honestly, man, it was one of those situations where I was just winging it. I would love to say that I had a plan and I was like, I'm looking for XYZ. I pretty much didn't know what I was looking for. Like, honestly, like there was no blueprint. I had the characters in my mind. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like most people probably feel this way. When you write a script, you kind of see the movie in your head. You have an idea of the characters. So I had that. And what I would do was we would have an initial meeting and I would go off of just how I felt about the person. I would go off of their acting real. If I thought they were talented, or not even just talented, but I thought they could do this. And obviously, if you're on board for my short film, you're not doing it for money. So I was also looking for people that I just felt like a passion from them when it came to filmmaking. Yeah. And the first person I cast was Prithi for Kira. And there was just something, I can't even put a word. I just was like, that's Kira. That's her. That's it. So I didn't have like a blueprint. I just kind of went with my gut to just say, oh, this is the one. I think this person can pull it off. And this was actually, Preeti is a college student, and this was her first acting role ever. And it was just something that I just said, I want to work with this girl. I want to help like pull this performance out, because she's such like a mild-mannered, like soft-spoken kind of girl. And I just had so much fun with it. But it was just a process of, I may not have experience, but I have to just go with my gut.
Well, I think the casting in this was pretty good, actually. Mm-hmm. I've worked as casting director. I mean, you know, keeping in mind the caveats, low budget to no budget. I'm assuming they were getting expenses only.
No, they got paid, and they got, of course, meals and snacks and stuff when we were filming.
Okay, yeah, so they got a, I guess what you would call beer and cigarettes money, and some, i.e., a small amount of money, and their expenses and their food and so forth. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No, that's good. That's good that you looked after them like that. Trust me, I know some people that have made a first-time short, and the actors are lucky if they get a sandwich.
Yeah, and I had someone say like, you shouldn't pay. I don't know, and I get that when people are strapped, they just feel like they, aren't paying talent. They'll just like feed them. It just didn't feel right. I don't know. I just felt like I may not be able to give you much, but I want to give you something, like you're showing up. And even before filming, they showed up to rehearsal. Like there was a lot I was asking of them. Nick had to put dirt in his mouth. So I just kind of felt like I need to
earned it.
Yeah.
Well, let's sticking with casting. Well, we'll move on to the rehearsals in a sec. It's great that you did rehearsals, because not a lot of people do rehearsals, and often you don't get rehearsal time. Sticking with the casting, let's say you're casting your next film, okay, and the self-tapes are coming in. What are you going to be looking for this time, now that you've got some experience under your belt? What are the changes?
You know what? There are so many changes I would make for my next short film, but honestly,
just purely on the casting for the moment.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot I would change in general, but when it comes to casting, honestly, I wouldn't change anything. I would do the exact same thing again. I feel like my gut steered me in the right direction. I feel like I had an amazing cast to work with. I was very lucky to have these actors be the first actors I ever directed. And in the moment, it felt overwhelming, and I felt like, oh, I never want to do casting again. I want to hire someone. I absolutely want to do casting again. Like, I love it.
Great. Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, the casting process can be a lot of fun. I mean, it can be very long and tiring as well, but it can be a lot of fun. So you did rehearsals, as you just said. So how many days rehearsals did you have with the cast?
We had, I want to say, a total of about 4 or 5 rehearsals, and then we had one on location. No, we had 2 on location rehearsals.
Okay, so the 4 or 5 rehearsals that you had, what were they typically, like 4 hours each, something like that?
Yeah.
So you had between 16 to 20 hours of rehearsals before you even got to the set.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you now, for a low budget short film, that's unheard of.
And the on location rehearsal, that was probably 6 to 8 hours each time.
Right.
But yeah.
I mean, it's good that you did that. I'll tell you why it's unheard of. It's because it requires more time, which requires more money, which short films don't normally have.
Yeah.
And the availability of actors windows can be limited. But it's great that you did it, because there's a especially if there's you've got your story is quite character defined, this horror film, and the actors need to imbue the roles with quite a lot of conviction in a certain direction in accordance with what the script requires. So I would say that rehearsals for this film were probably invaluable.
Yeah.
Especially for the two female leads who we see here. So I promised I'll mention this because I always do. Let's talk about catering. So what did you do for catering on the film?
Yeah, I was craft services. And
did you cook yourself?
No, sir. No, not at all. I ordered, like, catering meals from a restaurant. One day was tacos, another day was burgers, another day was like pasta and roasted veggies, like just restaurant food.
But it was good quality.
Yes.
Congratulations. You've already learnt one of the most valuable lessons in filmmaking, which is never go cheap on your catering.
Yeah.
Because if you are not paying people much, but you are giving them great quality food, boy, do they appreciate it.
Yeah.
And they feel valued, and they know that you care. We lost Rachel for a second. She must have lost her connection. Oh yeah, she said that, yeah, her internet is about to drop. There we go. She'll be back in a second. So that's another piece of advice I'd give you, but you're already there. So again, well done. So when you were shooting, once you were on set, you'd done your rehearsals and so on. You shot for 2 days, right?
Yes.
Do you remember roughly how many notes, as in directing notes, you had to give to your cast per day, roughly?
Oh man, like a number. Honestly,
yeah, roughly.
It was a whirlwind. I'm gonna just throw a number out and say, oh my God, 20 to 30.
Okay.
Because there was a lot of physical performance.
Yeah, I especially with the physical stuff, I can understand that. In terms of, okay, let's cut out the physical ones. In terms of characterization and specifically acting notes, did you have to give many?
No, not at all. A few, not a lot.
So that's another piece of advice that I would throw your way is if you have done a good job with casting, when you get onto the set and the actors are delivering, don't feel you need to prove yourself as a director by giving people notes. Sometimes the best note that you can give an actor is to say nothing.
Yeah.
Because if they're doing a good job and they don't need the note, don't say anything. Now, some actors can get insecure and they feel if they're not getting notes, they start, oh, you know, am I doing what they want? And all you need to say to them is, absolutely love what you're doing. Just same again, please. You know, you might do something simple like currently you're at a level of 10, maybe just take it up to 12. But simple things like that. But on my last short film, I was working with 2 seasoned pros. And I can tell you now that I gave 2 notes over the whole 2 days. So 1 note to one actor one day and 1 note to the other actor the other day. And that was it. My main job was more technically orientated with the technical stuff.
Yeah.
So
and I feel like that's why it was so important to me to do. And I go back and forth on. I remember seeing Spielberg talk about he doesn't like to do rehearsals because he doesn't want like a great performance that doesn't happen in front of the camera. And I remember going back and forth of should we do rehearsal, should we not? But with it being my first film, I did want it to be very, very prepared. But I did want, I had so many hats I had to wear. I remember telling the actors, once we're like, please ask me everything you want to ask. We're going to go through rehearsal. I'm going to give you all the feedback. Because once we're filming, honestly, I don't want to have to be so focused on your performance. I'm going to have so much other stuff to do. And I feel like they really were able to just run with everything. And just acting wise, I didn't have to give a lot of, really the biggest note was Nick always changing the lines. And I had to keep saying, please say it how it was written. But performance, everyone
I'm terrible for that when I'm acting as well.
Oh, I hate. Oh, and you know what? I didn't think I would be so anal because honestly, I did tell the actors like have freedom, but when I was like, nah, say it how it's written.
I think the important thing is to try and always get a good take of the script as written, and then allow them the freedom.
Yeah.
What was the biggest challenge or most difficult obstacle you had during the shooting of this?
Honestly, I would say my inexperience. I remember the day of shooting, I messed up really big with 2 things. I scheduled hair and makeup so wrong. It took way longer, especially the snakes. The hair and makeup took much longer. It was cutting into when we were supposed to be shooting, and I was kicking myself for that. Really messed the whole day up. Like we were completely off schedule. And once we were filming, I realized I didn't spend enough time on blocking. And this conversation you have on the screen, they kept having a conversation in a way that they kept blocking the other person. And I was just like, oh God, Nick, now we can't see Preeti or Preeti. And I just felt like, God, this is wasting so much time. So I would honestly, I feel like it was my inexperience. That was the biggest challenge.
Another comment from your mother here. Nickey was never into cartoons as a child. She just loved horror movies. And her mama, and maybe she just wanted to spend time with me, but I know I wouldn't get the best mother award from society. Well, yeah, but who is society? Who are you talking? When you say the word society, who are you talking about?
Because she used to get a lot of flack for letting her little child watch.
Maybe the committee in your church might not give you an award for that. They might give you an award for best cake or something. But now, listen, us at the Independent Filmmakers Awards, we would give you the best parent award for sure. So, you know, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
I've decided
that's how you get creative kids, you know.
Exactly.
You let them experience things.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I have to tell you that the number of guests that I've had on here that work in the film industry, which is this, I don't know what interview number this is. I think it's like 139 or something. And probably about 70 of 70 or 80 of those interviews are from the film industry. And I would say probably about 60% of those, there's always a story about a parent taking that person to the cinema to see this film or that film, or maybe a film they shouldn't have seen, and stuff like that. Galen Hurd said the same thing, you know. Yeah, so this is all good stuff. All good stuff. Yeah, it's okay. So you're inexperienced, which led to some things like scheduling, lack of anticipation over makeup time, stuff like that. Valuable lessons learned for your next film, of course. What is the aspect of the finished product that you're most happy with with this movie?
Honestly, what I am most happy with is the fact that it's done. Like, it's out.
You finished it.
Yeah, because I feel like I don't do well with frustration. That's the story of my life. Anytime something gets frustrating, I quit. And this was the most frustrating experience of my life, and it just feels really good to be on the other side. And
don't worry, there's bigger ones to come when you do your feature film. That's going to be a really frustrating experience. Trust me on that. Okay, what aspect of the movie, if you can pick one and just one, that you would change if you could, if you had more time, if you had more money?
Yeah, just one. Wow, let me narrow it down. I would say probably, I guess, spoiler alert, Mars' birthing scene. I was so I was the effects department. So I was trying to do practical effects. Another mistake, I should have done a rehearsal, but that his birthing scene did not come out in the slightest the way I wanted.
Yeah, I have questions about that scene, I have to say.
But if I could change anything, it would be that.
Because I was a little confused. I was like, is this a mutant apple, or what is happening? And you know, what's happening with this creature? But yeah. Now, did you have a local fruit seller sponsor you so you could get all these apples, or do you have a really big apple tree in your garden?
No, I went to the grocery store and I bought pounds and pounds of apples.
Oh my goodness!
You get like a weird look with somebody saying, how many pies are you making? Or
I absolutely did, and then I had to send a PA to get more apples. Yeah.
Did they also become part of the? Did they become part of the catering when you were done with them for cost efficiency?
You know what? They were all over the ground, so no one could eat them. But we were trying to give them to animals. But yeah,
No, fair enough. So okay, so you completed the film. You went into post-production, and there is where the other nightmares begin for any filmmaker. You know, it's kind of like you go on the hero's journey when you make a film. You go into the cave, you march all the way up to the mountain, you go into the cave where the dragon lurks, and you go in and you slay the dragon. That's the bit where that's the making of the film in this parable, if you like. Then you realize you've walked all the way up to the cave, and now you've got to walk all the way back, and it's a really long way down, and that's the editing, post-production, sound, and all of that. What was the biggest challenge you found in post-production?
I feel like that analogy you just said was perfect.
Yeah, somebody else told me that when I was a student filmmaker. So.
Yeah, because it's like we wrapped, and I was like, "Oh, I could breathe a sigh of relief." Like, fine, no, you can't.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge with post-production was financial challenge, inexperience challenge. I pretty much ended up in a position where I had to do everything, because by the time we wrapped, I literally had no money left. So I edited the film, just sound, just everything. And it may not be the best. I never edited anything. I don't know anything about sound engineering. But it was pretty much me just trying to figure it out and put it together on my own. And even just the very beginning of just getting all the good takes and putting everything in chronological order. I mean, that was daunting. There was so much footage. It was definitely way more daunting and intricate than I ever thought it would be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Now, sound is we could have a whole hour discussion about sound alone. How were you recording your sound on set?
One of the PAs, and that's why, like, in the credits, the PAs aren't credited as PAs because they did so much like actual work. One of the PAs, which was a college student, and he wants to do sound, so he had a boom mic and he had the mics that you clip onto the actors. So we did both. So that we could have, like, you know, I remember my assistant director saying, you're going to want to do both. So if the sound isn't right on the boom, you have it on the live. If it isn't right on the live, you have it on the boom. So we did both.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I mean, yeah, you didn't make the mistake of just trying to record it all in camera, which is a fatal schoolboy error. Yeah, I mean, as Keith said, you very much, you threw yourself into it, you learned on the job, and I have to tell you, that's the best way, absolutely the best way. You could have wasted probably something like $50,000 on God knows how many filmmaking courses, post-production courses, this, that, the other, directing courses, screenwriting courses. You saved all of that money by just going and making a film. That is the best course you can go on. I'll tell you now, it's the absolute best course you can go on is going out and making and learning by doing, like Keith said. I made my first feature film when I was in my 20s. I hadn't even done a short.
Oh, wow.
No, I know, right?
Jumped in with both feet.
It was shot over a period of 2 years. We sort of convened every month to do 3 days or whatever. Crazy idea. But, you know, like you, I was young and young in my filmmaker's journey in every sense. And you know, learning by my mistakes. And I made loads.
Yeah.
But those mistakes on this will serve you very well later on. You know, for example, now you'll know about covers. So next time you've got a complicated snake lady to be in the makeup chair for 3 hours, you'll be filming your kitchen scene with Nick and your lady while that's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where did you get your makeup lady from? Who did your makeup?
My aunt is a professional makeup artist.
Your aunt.
Yeah.
Let's give a shout out to the aunt. Fantastic job.
Yeah.
What's the aunt's name?
My aunt Nicole and my cousin Kari did the hair.
Your aunt Nicole and your cousin Cara?
Kari, yeah.
Kari. All right. What up, Nicole and Kari? Fantastic job. Really impressed with the makeup.
Yeah.
With the snake lady. I really loved that. And that kind of really added something to the film. I mean, my feedback, the 2 notes I would give you from watching it, you know, just standing back purely as an observer, because for me, this look was so great with this woman. If I was to sit back and read the script before you shot it, I would say, okay, try not to reveal this woman too early, and also the less we see of her, the more impactful she will be, and also the less she says, the more scary she'll be. So she did have quite a long feel towards the end, and I found that the more she talked, the less horrific she was. But I think that's probably because we're used to seeing, especially from Asian horror, you know, these creepy ladies step out of television sets with hair that you can't see their face and stuff. It's no discredit to the actor. The actor did a fine job. And these are just personal preferences. We all have personal preferences as creators and directors. But it does come back to that law of Jaws. The less we see of the shark, the more interesting and scary the shark is. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the first time I saw this woman, she scared the shit out of me when I was watching the film.
Really?
Oh my God, what's going on? Who's that? You know, but that you can only get that moment once. So, so that's something to maybe take forward to the next one. You know, what is the next project?
My next project, I am currently writing the script for my second short film. It will absolutely be horror. But yeah, so I'm currently working on that. I just started the fundraising for that, so that's my next venture.
Are you going to be crowdfunding that?
Yes. And I did crowdfunding for apples, which thank goodness that helped me. I think I raised $1,000 for apples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was that on Kickstarter?
No, it was GoFundMe.
GoFundMe. Okay. Mm-hmm. And do you have an active GoFundMe now for your next project?
Yes, I do.
Is that also on GoFundMe through the same platform?
Yes.
Let me just let's get that up quickly. And what's the project called on GoFundMe?
You might be able to search King Nickey because it just says like King Nickey's second short film. Let me do
that. There can't be that many King Nickeys on GoFundMe. If there are, we'll eliminate the others for you quickly, discreetly. Okay, I've found your original apples one, and I found Fund King Nickey's ambitious horror film. Well,
yes, that's the second one.
Here we are. Okay, let's get this up on the screen here. After making her directorial debut with the short horror film Apples, a project that blended horror with biblical and political themes in a bold and unconventional way, writer and director King Nickey will be tackling her second short horror film. I do voiceovers, by the way. I'm available if you need me. Aiming to go bigger with an ambitious script. Donate to this campaign to help fund an independent filmmaker intent on carving out an exciting new era of horror. Cat bell chimes optional. Okay.
That was great.
So, okay, there's not a lot here though. Is there a video here?
No.
Okay, so I have done a couple of crowdfunding campaigns, and if you'll permit me, let me offer you another piece of advice. So, there are a gazillion film projects on Kickstarter, Indiegogo, GoFundMe, and other platforms, and when people are investing in you, they need to see you. So they need to see, who is this person I'm giving money to, especially in times when most people don't have much money. And I would highly recommend that you put a video on here with a couple of very short, and by very short, I mean just a few seconds, you talking interspersed with some clips of your horror film, and then you saying what the next short horror is going to be about. What are the themes you're going to tackle this time? Is it a sequel to Apples? Maybe it's called Bananas. Probably isn't that, but you know, yeah, don't go down that road. Well, maybe when you want to go to comedy, you could come back to that. But no, I mean this kind of tells us a little bit, but doesn't tell us enough. So we need to, what is the next one about? Is it about, flying killer fish, or, a giant man-eating cactus? What's occurring? I quite like the sound of the cactus one. That's a good idea.
Honestly, sounds really fun.
Yeah, I mean, you are a big fan of B movies. You said it yourself. Listen, once my brain gets going, it's quite scary. I just come out with about 30 script ideas in about 5 seconds. That's how I wrote so many scripts in lockdown. But I do think you need that on here. You don't need to say the whole thing, because I know, you might be scared of people stealing ideas and stuff like that. But you've also got to get people to invest. So they've got to invest in you. They've got to invest in the idea, the concept. So definitely I would try and knock up a video within a week and pop it on there.
Okay.
All right. And if you need to write to me about any advice on that, just give me a shout. All right. Yeah. So Proctor File says that's an interesting challenge to try and write a horror film about bananas. It could be fun. Yeah. So Wormy Spoons, did you have? Here's a great question from Wormy Spoons. So now, having gone through the process, are you going to be more or less critical of movies you watch? Oh, that's interesting.
You know what? I've had a few people ask me that, and I feel like I've always had a respect and appreciation for filmmaking. But I think everything should be critiqued. You know, I'm going to critique movies. Other people should critique my movie. So I don't think my opinion or criticism of movies will change. I will say the one thing that will change is I'm a stickler about continuity. I will never complain about continuity. Is so hard. Like it's so hard to keep up with continuity. So that's probably the one area where I'm just going to shut up. I'm just not going to get on.
No, it's a challenge. I mean, on the movie I just made, there's a sequence where this glass of water is being drunk, and we come back to that glass of water in the film quite a few times, and it's, you know, it's symbolic and it means something. But of course, you know, as great as it is as a shot, we had to make sure the water was always at the right level. And of course, the actors actually got to drink it. So we had to refill it, and we had to make sure, you know, that it matched, you know, the level it had been at before in other shots and stuff like this. And keeping an eye on that became an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
And I did have a really good script supervisor who also doubled as our continuity lady. Now, I actually just found that shot, so I'll show you what I'm talking about. And she had this great iPad with all this continuity software on it and stuff, and she was so on the ball. I'm just going to mute the sound on this. This is from the movie I've just shot. So this glass is constantly being picked up and put down. And I mean, if you watch every shot, I'm sure there's a tiny bit of variance somewhere, but fortunately it doesn't change the quality of the film, because it's not too distracting. Did you see a movie called Young Sherlock Holmes when you were young? Steven Spielberg produced it.
I know it, but no, I never saw it. It's not my cup of tea, but I know the movie.
That actor that's young Sherlock Holmes from that movie.
Okay.
Yeah, Nicholas Rowe, great guy, such a lovely actor. Fantastic to work with. He came up with so many great ideas for his character, and he had them all just ready to go from day one. So it's, you know, it's that kind of dream, like you say, when you work with people, you want to work with them again. So can you tell us anything about the new horror film?
I can't, because it's so early, and like the way Apple started is not the way it finished. Like it, you know, ideas morph and change. So right. I don't really want to say, because I told about Apples, and Apples is Apples is nowhere how it started. But yeah, I would say it is horror. I definitely am staying in the horror lane.
Okay. Do you know what? I knew your mum would have seen that movie. Yeah, that's him. That's Miss Lisa. That is Nicholas Rowe. So, all right, let me put it to you a slightly different way. Are you planning an idea around what I would call, because this is a consideration for low-budget independent filmmakers, available resources? So,
yes.
Do you know what I mean by that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is, and that's, I'm like, I want to approach it much differently from Apple's. You know, it's kind of like, you don't want to write about being in space if you don't have the money to, like, you know, have that location. So I'm definitely going into it, because when I wrote Apples, I wasn't thinking about what space will I have, you know, when you go to film, you go through the script and say, what items do I need? So yeah, this time I'm thinking, okay, what will I have available to me? Let me not make the mistake the first time where I bought so much stuff and props and stuff for the first one, and I was just like, okay, what do I have that I can kind of base a story around, and where can I shoot
what's accessible? What's accessible to you location wise? You know, maybe Rachel's family own a big creepy barn that you can borrow. Who knows? So that's the kind of thing, you know, you get your creative team together. Now, of course, the golden ticket that independent filmmakers are always missing, and it's so hard to get it. There's a lot of dodgy tickets out there, but the golden one is very hard to land, is a producer. A producer is the person who is supposed to take the heavy lifting off of your shoulders so that you can focus on the more fun stuff, the creative stuff, the working with the actors, the rehearsals, the writing, if you're writing and directing, which like me, you also do that. And, you know, their job is to do things like go and book locations and negotiate cheap rates for everything and ideally find sponsors or investors and raise money, which is not a fun job, which is why no one wants to do it. Where you get producers that are interested is they see an easy way to raise money off the back of your concept, your film or idea, and then they will try and take as much money from that they raise as they can. That's where you have to be very, very wary. So, another piece of advice I would impart to you is beware of producers bearing gifts. If everything sounds and seems too good to be true, it probably is. All right. But that's all right, because remember, the Outcast Creative now, you've got a fucking army of people that will have your back in this situation. You can come to us and ask for advice for no problem whatsoever. But, you know, we appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know why this is relevant, Keith. My invisible hippopotamus is eating bananas all the time. Is that for Miss Nickey's next film? I'm not sure what's going on there. Wormy Spoons has come up with a pitch for you. A meteorite crashes into a banana plantation, causes some damage, but the plantation owner keeps it quiet and ships out the contaminated bananas. And when you eat one, horrific things happen. And you're going to like that. There you go.
It absolutely sounds like a B horror movie.
It does. There you go. There's the plot for Bananas, the sequel to Apples. Then you can go. The third one can be Oranges. You've got your fruit trilogy. I don't know.
It worked for Edgar Wright with the Cornetto trilogy.
Well, I mean, it sounds. You know what? It sounds nuts, but that's actually quite a good marketing. As stupid as it sounds, and we're laughing, that is quite a good marketing gimmick. I made 3 short horror films. Each one of them's about a piece of fruit. That's the connection. Crazier things have happened. Let's talk a little bit about the changes that we've seen in the output of Hollywood and stuff. Because when I first booked you to come on here, I thought you were a 20-something wee whippersnapper. I didn't realize you were, you know, older and jaded like myself and Rachel. So, what would you say? Let's say from I want to say from about 2017 onwards. Standing back, looking at the output that we've had from Hollywood, we've obviously had a lot of superhero films, and so on. Do you think has there been a marked drop in quality? If so, how do you see it from your perspective? What do you think the problems are?
I feel like I hear a lot of people saying like Hollywood is out of ideas, everything is the IP, everything is, you know. Honestly, I disagree. I feel like if you're only paying attention to big studio movies, that is true. But I honestly feel like I have seen, whether it's a foreign film, whether it's independent film, I've seen original filmmaking every single solitary year of my life, and I'm 39 years old. I do feel like the one thing I will say is probably the mainstream big names in horror, for me, feels like people that don't even like horror. You know, Osgood Perkins has come out saying he doesn't like or respect horror. I forget his name, but the guy who did Hereditary, he didn't want to do a horror movie. He wanted to do a family drama. So I will say that I don't like. I feel like I have a friend who has had a few of her screen. She's written scripts that have she's sold, and she said she doesn't like horror, but studios are more likely to buy a horror script, so she's going to just do horror. And like, I hate that. I hate, because I love horror so much, I hate the thought that it's now just a vehicle for you to like get successful or get into the industry. Oh well, let's just make it horror. I hate that. Like I passionately hate that so much. I love it.
Same.
It's interesting that you said that Osgood Perkins has come out and publicly said that, because I mean, this is the guy that made Longlegs and the monkey, and I mean, he's talking like, oh, I didn't want to make a horror film. Well, he probably wants to get away from the fact that he actually looks like a serial killer who murders people. I don't know. I mean, that's a serial killer picture right there. That looks like Jeffrey Dahmer in this photo. I'm sorry, I don't wish to be mean. But I mean, I just think it's really stupid for a filmmaker to make those kind of comments. I think if you make a successful film within a certain genre like he has, own it, you know. I've made a good horror film. You know, maybe horror is not his favorite genre. I'll put my hand up and say it's not my favorite genre. It's a genre I enjoy, but I probably haven't seen anywhere near as many horror films as you, because I don't go out of my way to watch them anymore, because they sort of went through a phase of becoming a bit like splatter porn, and I just sort of I kind of got a bit, the stories weren't there. If the stories aren't there to match the death scenes, then I'm a bit like, I've only seen the first 2 Saw movies, for example. Haven't seen the rest.
You're not missing out.
No, you really aren't.
No, okay, so there we are. Yeah, I like quality, not quantity. Do you have a favorite old school horror movie, like from back in the day? Because I can tell you mine. Let's forget The Thing. We've talked about The Thing. That's horror sci-fi.
The Kiefer Sutherland Invasion of the Body Snatchers remake, probably Mimic, Phantoms. I love 90s horror. The Loved Ones. I love early 2000s horror. I guess that's old school now, early 2000s.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go a bit more old school because you know, I'm an old fucker. So this is one of my favorites. I bet your mum saw this at the cinema. Yeah, I love the original Fog by John Carpenter. I love the story with the shipwreck and these are people coming back to avenge a crime that happened 100 years ago. And I love the scene where the water drips off the piece of plywood and flows into the tape, and then the tape gets distorted and like there's a message from the past. Do you know the scene I mean?
Yeah, the remake was terrible, but yeah, this original.
Oh no,
we don't talk about that.
We're not allowed to mention the remake. I should have told you. You're not allowed to mention the remake on this channel. That's a sin. Please don't mention it again. I'll have to hit the eject button. No, just terrible movie. Awful film.
Remakes of Carpenter films are just not. They're just not good. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan. Let's talk. We've gone over time, but I'm quite enjoying this, so let's keep going. I want to talk a little bit outside of the horror genre, though. Do you have the desire to tell other stories?
I feel like right now I consider myself a horror writer, a horror filmmaker. I don't like when people kind of just do horror so that they can get in and parlay it to something else. But I mean, obviously, just as a creative person, you don't want to box yourself in.
No.
So I would, down the line, I would love to do other genres, but it would probably be genre like blending. I feel like the core will always be horror, but I would absolutely love to do like an action horror film. I would love to do like an old school, like erotic thriller type of movie. So yeah, there are other things that I would love to like, go into.
Do you think you might do? You mentioned earlier, obviously you were brought up in a single parent household. We mentioned your amazing mum several times already. Do you think you might do some kind of drama one day about the sort of the single parent dimension, the absent father thing? Is that something you might tackle maybe?
That topic, yes, but probably not just like drama. I just feel like I just naturally kind of just see things through a horror lens.
So it's more going to be kind of like Action fathers getting killed in horrific ways.
I would say a topic like that would probably, I would veer more into like psychological horror. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. All good stuff. What other I mean, TV shows that are out now? Are there any other TV shows that you particularly like watching that are not in the horror genre? For example, I'll give you a couple of examples of shows we've talked about here. Landman is very popular among my team, and another one. A lot of us are very fond of things like 1923. We got a lot of fans of Yellowstone on this channel. I think that's all because we secretly want to be cowboys. But yeah, are you fans of any of those, or sort of anything in that direction?
Actually, the TV shows I'm into right now, I really love cop procedural shows like a CSI or SVU. And I think the only thing currently that reminds me of the cop procedure, there's a CBS show called Tracker. He's not a cop, but he finds.
I'm watching it.
I love that show.
Yeah,
like it gives me that formula of a cop procedure where there's like a different case and different people every episode. I also like the show FBI. That also gives me my cop procedural fix.
One of members of the Outcast Creative, who I have also interviewed on the channel as a British actor living and working in Los Angeles, Rez Kempton. He has just shot an episode of the FBI.
Oh wow!
So it should be airing pretty soon. He had a lot to tell me about working on that show, but I probably shouldn't repeat it here. But this
tell me backstage.
This is Rez. He's a great actor, fantastic guy. Obviously gets put up for a lot of like terrorist roles and that kind of thing. But yeah, and you'll also find him on. If you watch the live stream performances that we did with loads of actors when we were all in lockdown, this is kind of how the channel started back in 2020. We did this huge production called 13 Seconds in Kent State, where we're all doing a script and stuff, but it's like a live performance, but we did it like a movie. We all had costumes on and backgrounds. Yeah, you get to hear me do a terrible American accent.
Is it as bad as Daniel Craig's Southern accent?
Oh Lord, that gives me nightmares.
I can do an American accent, but I'll tell you now, I was pretty nervous. And I had a real bad issue to sort out backstage right before we went live with this actor that was just driving everyone up the wall. And because we had a huge cast on it, it was massive. I've got a massive movie poster for it behind me. Actually, let me just if I make my screen bigger, how do I do that? There we go. So when I turn the monitor this way, you can see behind the Lego Death Star, I've got this huge cinema poster here. And that's a big poster that we had made up especially for it. And it's like an old sort of 1970s disaster poster where it's got all the pictures of the actors that were in it on the right and the kind of the main kind of dramatic part of the poster on the left. But yeah, doing that production was something else. I mean, God, we took live streaming on YouTube to a whole nother level. We had everybody on Zoom, and we were kind of like, doing it with Zoom and the actors on Zoom, and we rehearsed on Zoom, and there are actors in that show that I've still never met in person because we had cast all over the world. Yeah, it was crazy. So you can watch all those; they're all on my channel. Fantastic. So where can people follow you? Instagram, Twitter. I think you have got a Twitter account, right?
Yes, I have a Twitter account. I have an IG. It's all King Nickey, Nickey. My YouTube channel, King Nickey.
Yeah, and in terms of the YouTube channel going forwards, is that simply going to be a channel for you to load up your films on there, or are you going to branch out into doing reviews and things? What's the plan?
That's what I'm trying to figure out now. I've been doing movie reviews and commentary for the last like 4 years on my YouTube channel. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out now if I'm going to like still go full ahead, continue with my movie reviews. I mean, I'm sure I'll still do some. I just don't know if it'll be at the volume that I've been doing for the last 4 years. But yeah, I've been doing movie reviews and, you know, film commentary. And I did my live horror panel that I used to do while I would have other creatives on talking horror. It is mostly horror movies that I talk about, but I do, you know, talk about other stuff sometimes. But, you know, horror is my number one.
Well, look, anytime I've got any kind of horror thing on the Outcast Creative channel, and you see it's coming up, if I've forgotten to invite you on to take part, consider yourself to have an open invite. Okay.
Thank you.
And I have done a top 5 horror already, but I'm sure I'll do something horror related, because I think there are quite a few independent horror films that came out that not a lot of people saw. One that got drawn to my attention, you're gonna know it because I bet you've seen it, and I've got to remember the name of the actor now so I can look up the title. It's got a weird title, but this woman goes to stay in this village, and all the men in the village are all played by the same actor.
Men. It's called Men.
Thank you. That's the one. Yeah. And I was writing a horror script for somebody, freelance horror film script I was doing for someone, and you know, and they said, well, we want it to be, you know, this, and we want it to be that. They didn't really know what they wanted, to be honest, but they gave me a list of horror films to watch that I hadn't seen, one of which was Men. And this was the one that really grabbed me. And it was so disturbing, but also really clever. And also the leading male actor is one of my favorite actors. I mean, he's a fantastic
actor.
Him.
Great character actor.
Rory Kinnear. So he is the son of Roy Kinnear, who was a comedy actor who played Veruca Salt's father in the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory film, the one with Gene Wilder. So he is the son of Veruca Salt's dad from that movie in real life. Okay. So, you know, the apple didn't fall far from the tree. See what I did there? So, yeah, he's incredibly talented. I've seen him on the stage a couple of times. Really nice guy in person as well. I've got a couple of friends that have worked with him. But there was this scene in the tunnel, and this was one of my favorite scenes in the movie, where Jessie Buckley did that thing where she kind of shouted down the tunnel for the echo, and then it kind of came back to her, but it was like somebody else had done it, and then you saw this figure in the distance, and it looked like the figure was naked, and it was just so creepy, and it was like, yeah, girl, run, you know, don't hang about.
Yeah. I feel like it's some good imagery, but I hate that movie.
Well, I've got to say to you, I don't want to watch it again. I found it quite vile. I did think this was a good film. I know exactly what you're saying. This was a good film, but I did hate it. I didn't want to watch it again. I found it kind of disgusting, really disturbing. But then horror should kind of make you have those conflicting emotions, good horror, and make you think a bit. And it was very clever, and the makeup was amazing.
I love disturbing. I love disgusting. Just me personally, I thought the movie was a little tone deaf. But I mean, I get what they were going for, and there was some good stuff in there, like on a technical aspect. The performances were great, visually it was great, cinematography was great.
Yeah, look at that. We've devolved into a horror discussion already. Okay.
She'll fit in perfectly.
What's the timeline for doing the next movie?
I don't know the exact timeline. I'm wanting to be like more prepared and have a lot better preparation This time. I feel like the last one, in my opinion, I kind of did pretty quick. I don't know how long it usually takes people to do a short film, but I just feel like writing it in February, filming in July, it just felt very much like crunch time. So
you're based in Nashville, right?
Yes.
Rachel, who else do we have on our regulars who's based in Nashville? I'm sure there's one person. I need to think about it. Anyway, we're going to put feelers out, start seeing who we know in that region of the country.
I mean, I'm not too far from her, so
there you go. So there's already an offer. There's already a potential caterer there. So.
That'd be great. Yeah, I'm hoping to. I mean, I'm writing the script now. I don't really put a time limit on. I want the script done by XYZ, but I'm hoping to have my second short film out for people in 2026. Probably maybe near the end of 2026.
Okay.
Give yourself a little more time with this one.
Yeah, and especially like budget wise, I literally had no budget. I kind of was just spitting into the wind, hoping it didn't come back in my face. Like this time I kind of want to sit down and like say, okay, this is going to cost XYZ, and like plan and really give myself time, so that I don't feel so frazzled and like it's not so. I mean, it's going to be stressful, but as much as I can alleviate.
Yeah. Well, proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Yeah.
There you go. Dan Candy, one of my moderators. I'm a few states away. Oh no, that's the wrong one. I'm a few states away, but I'm always up for a good road trip. So there you go. We're already potential offers of help. Well, listen. I think your film is a first time maker's film. It's got all those rough edges and things that could have been done differently and yada yada yada, but you can see the passion there, and that is the most important thing to have. Don't let anyone at any juncture in your career from this point onwards tell you you're not a filmmaker, because you are. Also, don't let them tell you that you don't work in the industry because you're not based in Hollywood or Atlanta and you're drawing a big paycheck. If you create a film and you make a film, you're in the industry.
Right.
The industry doesn't exist over there, over the other side of the hill that you can't see while you're beavering away over here. So don't ever let people talk down to you like that, because you're in it now. That's it.
Thank you. I never let people talk down to me, but thank you.
Listen, it's coming. I'm trying to be the Gandalf in this scenario. That's what I like to do. I like to help people. I'm one of the nice people in this industry. There's not many of them because it's a very telescoped profession. It's a very, it's a very narrow-sighted world. People only think about their own thing, and you can become successful that way. But if you want to destroy your soul, that's fine. I'd rather be a nice person. So yeah. Well, look, I want to wish you all the best of luck. Know that you can come and call on the channel for support if we can ever help. Proctor file, Lance, never change. You know it, buddy. All that's going to happen, the only thing about me that's going to change is my raving dance moves are going to get even better. So, yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Thanks to everybody in the chat for taking part. We've had quite an active little chat there. That's really lovely. Keep an eye out for what's happening with King Nickey, the filmmaker, and those people who missed the beginning, no, she's not a king of any small country or anything like that. It's a nickname. But also, if you can donate to her GoFundMe, please do. If you know someone in Nashville who might want to invest in local filmmaking opportunities, please send them her way. Right, so we're going to be back on Tuesday with the Nielsen Ratings, which is my weekly film and TV review show where we kind of recommend things to people to watch. Rachel, have you been watching that new show that just dropped on? Actually, Nickey, you'd like this as well. A new show that dropped on Netflix with Matthew Rhys and Claire Danes. You been watching that?
No. You'll have to tell me about it.
Yeah, it would help if I got the title.
Yeah, That would be helpful.
Yeah, I always find if you can have the titles for things for people, it's very helpful.
I feel like I haven't seen Claire Danes do anything in a minute.
Well, I'll tell you what, she's great in this, and you know, you can tell that her age. She said to her agent, "I want to play someone who looks a bit haggard, like they've been through shit. I don't want to wear any makeup. I want to play a really earthy role." Probably this script landed on their desk and on her desk, and they went, "Okay, yeah, you should do this." So the show is called The Beast in Me. The basic premise is that Claire Danes' character is a writer of sort of drama, crime, fiction, and she lives in quite a nice house that she used to share with her female partner. They are now separated. She's got a whole backstory that I won't spoil for you. And Matthew Rhys moves in next door with his newly wed young wife, and his ex-wife disappeared in suspicious circumstances. And as neighbours, they get off to a very dodgy start. But ultimately, he decides to hire her to write a biographical book about his life and the disappearance of his ex-wife, of which he may or may not have been complicit in. And there's a whole story going on behind all that. So it's a dark thriller, but it's great. Danes is great. Matthew Rhys is great. It's really gripping. I'm on the 4th episode, and I'm going to watch the rest of it once we get off here. So I highly recommend it. So Rachel, there's your homework for Tuesday. Nickey, if you fancy watching it, and you're free at 10 o'clock on Tuesday, which will be the same time we started this, but Tuesday, so 5 p.m. Eastern, you're very welcome to come on and take part in the discussion.
Thank you.
No problem. So, and then what will happen is all my other guests will then start nicking you for their channels. Just remember, you got invited to mine first. Yeah? Okay. So, but I also need to, on that note, thank God I said that. I need to shout out Nadia, the horror channel, because it was Nadia inviting you on there to talk about your film that brought you to my attention. Yes. And as I've said many times, I'll say it again, the purpose of this channel is to support independent creators. Yes, we do reviews and stuff like that, but primarily while we're here is to conduct these industry interviews. So if you're a creative with a project, get in touch with us either via the Facebook page, or I'm on Twitter, Lance Nielsen WD, Twitter, a little bit of humor there. Okay, a couple more messages from your mum. So I'm just going to let your mum know if she wants to put an embarrassing comment in, now's the time, because we're about to wrap up. Okay, just see our final comments here. Yeah, we're at 90. We did a 90-minute. Listen, we're with the first AD from the Back to the Future films. We were on for nearly 3 hours, so that's the record. Yeah, your mother has said she's seen the previews for The Beast in Me. Loved her in Homeland. I did like her in Homeland. Homeland was a show that went on too long, though. It was like, oh, there's another season, really? We've already had 50 twists in the last season. Can you really, another season? And this is nice from Keith. Lisa, you should be proud now and will be greatly proud in the future, if that makes sense. A lot of good coming your way. I think basically what Keith is trying to say is that your mother should be very proud of you, of what you've achieved so far, and all that you will achieve. And I will echo that sentiment myself.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you.
We have to cherish our parents while we're here. Season 2 of Landman started. Yeah, mate. We'll be talking about it on Tuesday. All right. Thanks, chat. Thanks to everyone taking part. Thanks to my co-host, Rachel Percy. And also King Nickey. Yeah, I perfected that. We're going to be back on Tuesday, same time as today. In the meantime, don't forget what I often say at the end of my streams. Keep in touch with the people that you care about. Tell them that you love them. And we will see you all again real soon. Bye.